You're under arrest!
Hello, I'm Ryan Donato.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another hard review. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest animated movie to grace the big screen this summer. It is Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Now, this is a movie that has been on the shelf for a while. This is a 2017 movie called Blazing Samurai. As you can tell from the title, it is a parody of Blazing Saddles. I was very surprised to find out that Mel Brooks was heavily involved creatively with this movie, and I think even Richard Pryor gets a story credit on this. I wanted to see it because I worked on it and the trailers looked really bad. The animation looked like the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie that came out earlier this year. This is straight out of that movie. That's how bad this animation is. But I wanted to see it because in the trailer there's a joke where Michael Cera is the dog and this huge orange cat samurai dude walks in. You just see Michael Cera dog go, "You're under arrest!" It's so funny. Other than that, Samuel L. Jackson's in it and that looked really cheesy and dumb. I didn't even know that Mel Brooks was in it, but I did know that Ricky Gervais is in it, which I'm a very big fan of his. I'm always rewatching his old Golden Globes monologues. So I went and watched this movie with a theater full of children at a press screening, and they gave out whoopee cushions at the beginning of the screening, and I was very shocked that that did not become a major issue throughout. Now, I did doze off at a couple moments during this movie, but I will say it was better than I expected. I expected one of the worst movies of the year. I expected this movie to be garbage, and then it ended up being fine. It wasn't great at all. It's like a 3-star at best, and I'm giving it 3 stars. Every time I talk to someone about this movie, they're like, "Oh man, maybe I should go see it." And I'm like, no, you really don't have to. I mean, unless you're a really big Mel Brooks fan, because I did feel like this had a fresh sense of humor compared to other animated movies, especially since I just watched The Minions and I just watched Lightyear. So I have all this Disney relatable humor, and then I had the Minions babbling nonsense getting hit, and this had some jokes. Like, there's a couple jokes about how the movie's 85 minutes long. Every time I laughed at that. I thought it was really funny. Ricky Gervais is perfect in this. It's really nice to see him and Michael Cera again, since I really haven't heard them on the big screen in a long time. Honestly, Samuel L. Jackson's the weakest link here. George Takei was also a standout. I really appreciate him. Oh, and Michelle Yeoh, was she even in it? I definitely can see Mel Brooks' sense of humor shining through. I like that it is a riff on Blazing Saddles. I think that's cute, and there's a lot of themes about racism in this movie. I think there's specifically a line where one of the security guard guys is like, "Well, my father hated dogs, and I've hated dogs in my whole life, and it just feels good to hate things." And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how it happens. But I expect parents, if they even go to see this movie with their children, to boycott this for being woke. How am I going to explain to my children that racism is bad? There was a TikTok earlier this week of someone at a school assembly, like a PTA meeting, and they're like talking about anti-racism, and she's like, "I know that anti-racism in the dictionary means to oppose racism." Everyone just laughs at her. I can still so see a parent coming out of this being like, just upset at the fact that they try to teach kids that racism is bad. But if you are pro-racism, do not watch Paws of Fury. That was one of my favorite aspects about the movie, is how it had things to say about racism. Obviously, it's not very poignant. It's about as poignant as Green Book is, but at least there was a theme. The animation's ugly. It's very quick. I've seen this movie a million times before. It had a funny little sense of humor, and it was generally inoffensive, and I felt like I had a decent time on the way out. I don't recommend this movie, but if you are a cinephile who goes and sees every single movie in the theater, then I recommend seeing this movie, especially if you're a Mel Brooks fan, because it definitely stands out amongst the animated movies that have come out in theaters. I think it's the worst animated movie to come out in theaters this year, because it's definitely not as good as Lightyear, Bad Guys. It's not even as good as Minions, even, really. Bob's Burgers was better. I keep forgetting that because it's not for kids. And then Turning Red didn't come out in theaters, so I can't judge it. I do think it's funny to release this in theaters 2 weeks after Minions Rise of Gru, which we all knew was going to be a huge success, which that came out 2 weeks after Lightyear, which we didn't know was going to bomb. So in theory, there should have been 2 huge kids animated movies out. So I thought that was really stupid from them, especially since also Thor comes out the week prior, and everyone's biggest complaint about Thor is, "Oh wow, the humor is so cringe. This feels like a movie for children. All the extra exposition about catching us up from the previous movies is just so that we can teach the kids about what happened in the first Thor movies so they don't have to watch those." So you got a lot of kid-dominated movies movies. I mean, Top Gun's the biggest movie of the summer. We need something for the kids because all the parents are going to go see Top Gun. I did just think that it was kind of weird releasing this in the middle of July, especially since 2 weeks later, DC League of Super Pets is going to come out, and that's going to do well because name brand recognition. You got The Rock in it. Kevin Hart might be back in people's good favor. I don't really know how people feel about Kevin Hart these days. This is definitely like an August or a September movie, or even like January. January feels very accurate for a movie like this. February or March or even April, like just not July, the middle of July. I thought that was really stupid, and it really underperformed. I mean, at my theater, it did a little bit better than I thought. Like, there was a primetime showtime that had like 60 something people in it, and I was like, whoa. But I think it bombed this weekend. It's better than expected, but that's only because I was expecting the worst movie of the year. I have very, very low expectations. If you do see this, if you're a parent, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised somewhat. What's your favorite Mel Brooks movie? Mine is probably Spaceballs. I love Spaceballs. I'm a big Star Wars guy, so I'm a big Spaceballs guy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, by the way, there's a Cats reference in this, and I felt like that was for me. It said in the little book, Jellicle, and I was like, wow, Cats, and I laughed out loud. No one else in the theater said anything.